So I recently made a video highlighting what I think are some of the best Oscar speeches of all time, but now let's explore the flip side and talk about some of the truly all-time worst Oscar speeches. Like which speeches had you-know-what hitting the fan. Let's start with number 10, Best Supporting Actress, Anne Hathaway, Les Miserables.
It came true.
It came true. Oh my god, did this make me gag the night of the Oscars in early 2013. She gives a perfectly fine performance in Les Miserables, and people were really ganging up on Anne Hathaway. Unfairly, I would say. I've always adored Anne Hathaway, but that Oscar speech isn't great. Has a cringy opener, Hathaway has said in a later interview, was acting on the night. She wanted that moment of winning an Academy Award to feel special, but she wasn't feeling it for whatever reason, and so she is kind of acting that line, "It came true," and you can see it, you can feel it in the moment. Number 9, Best Original Song, Sam Smith's Spectre.
I read an article a few months ago by Sir Ian McKellen, and he said that no openly gay man had ever won an Oscar.
So this one is also kind of cringy because Sam Smith got his facts wrong. Sam Smith was not the first openly gay person to win an Oscar. How about Dustin Lance Black, who won Best Original Screenplay for Milk many years before, and gave a very powerful, heartfelt speech about the LGBTQ community? How about Elton John and Howard Ashman, who both won Oscars in Original Song many decades before Sam Smith won this Academy Award?
It turns out you're not actually the first openly gay winner, but...
No shade on Smith, really. His heart's in the right place, but he should have gotten his facts right. Number 8, Best Supporting Actress, Angelina Jolie, Girl Interrupted.
I'm in shock, and I'm so in love with my brother right now.
So, the brother thing. The brother thing in this speech is kind of weird. These two were being very close all award season. I think she brings them up on the stage when she wins the Golden Globe Award. I'm pretty sure there's pictures of them kissing and things, and then she opens her Oscar acceptance speech by saying just how much she loves her brother. Oh my god, my brother is the greatest. And it cuts to him at the end of the speech, crying from his seat. She says she loves him again. And it's a little cringy, let's be honest. Those two parts of Angelina Jolie's speech is just kind of ick. Like, she seems nervous, doesn't really know what to say, and if it were up to her, she probably would have brought her brother up on the stage again. Number 7, Best Picture, Ben Affleck, Argo.
I want to thank you for working on our marriage for 10 Christmases. It's good. It is work, but it's the best kind of work. And there's no one I'd rather work with. So.
Hoo boy. Maybe I should change the title of this video to the cringiest Oscar acceptance speeches, because here is some more cringe for you. Remember this? Ben Affleck spent part of his speech addressing his then-wife, Jennifer Garner, and not exactly getting across that they were having the greatest marriage. It's just, in this moment, at the end of the ceremony, you're accepting a prize for Best Picture. It's not really the time to address your marital woes to the entire world. And I know he was trying to be funny, but it just comes off as extremely awkward. Number 6, Best Documentary Short, Eleanor Burkett, Music for Prudence.
Wait, I never imagined in my wildest dreams that I'd end up here. This is so exciting. This is so exciting.
Isn't that just
so exciting.
The classic thing?
Now here's an interesting story. At the 2010 Oscars, Roger Ross Williams goes up on stage to accept his Oscar trophy for his documentary short, Music for Prudence. This was his baby. This was his movie primarily, but there was also a producer on the project named Eleanor Burkett, who apparently had been taken off the movie at some point. Like, she didn't have a huge role in the production or the post-production, but she was still listed as a nominee on the film, and so right after Roger Ross Williams starts talking, she hijacks the mic Kanye West-style when he's in mid-sentence practically, and just takes over the rest of the speech. He reacts in just about the kindest way possible, but oh my god, this should not have happened, and Eleanor Burkett should be ashamed of herself. Number 5, Best Actor, Marlon Brando, The Godfather.
I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening, and he has asked me to tell you in a very long speech, which I cannot share with you presently because of time.
So, as you probably well know, Marlon Brando did not accept his Oscar back in 1973 for his performance in The Godfather. He had Sacheen Littlefeather go up to the stage and refuse the Oscar as a way to protest how Hollywood portrays Native Americans in the movies. Her speech is thankfully brief, as the room fills with awkwardness. And then after the fact, there was so much controversy. Littlefeather might not have even been Native American. And so there were just a lot of weird shenanigans circling this infamous Oscar speech. The cause she talked about was and is obviously an important one, but I don't think it was handled in the right way. Marlon Brando himself should have accepted the trophy and talked about this issue if it was that important to him. Number 4, Best Supporting Actress, Melissa Leo, The Fighter.
When I watched Kate 2 years ago, it looked so easy. Oops.
So I don't know about you, but I've always found this presentation and acceptance speech for Best Supporting Actress in early 2011 to be very awkward, not really entertaining, and it just goes on and on and on, starting with Kirk Douglas presenting the award, and he just draws that thing out as long as he possibly can. And I guess you can say this part is kind of amusing, but then Melissa Leo finally wins for her performance in The Fighter. She has forced sexualized banter with Douglas for a bit. She says the F word just out of nowhere, and then she ends by faking she's walking with a cane. It's just kind of a disaster. It's not funny. It's not clever. I have never liked this speech by Melissa Leo. Number 3, Best Actor, Matthew McConaughey, Dallas Buyers Club.
I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, who's your hero? And I said, I don't know, I got to think about that. Give me a couple of weeks. I come back 2 weeks later. This person comes up and says, who's your hero? I said, I thought about it. You know who it is? I said, it's me in 10 years.
How intolerable was Matthew McConaughey during the 2014 award season? Every speech was so long and pompous and self-aggrandizing, and I was not having it. Like, I remember when he lost the Emmy for True Detective later that same year to Bryan Cranston for Breaking Bad. I just breathed a sigh of relief because I didn't have to listen to another McConaughey speech. They were not great, and you know what? Someone else agrees with me.
Theatre, 29 seconds. Matthew McConaughey spoke about Neptune, and I think I can have 5 seconds.
His Oscar speech for Dallas Buyers Club was no different. That part toward the end, which lasts at least a minute, maybe longer, where he says his hero is himself 10 years from now. And he just reiterates his points over and over again, banging every viewer, every audience member over the head. No frickin' thank you. Number 2, Best Director, James Cameron, Titanic.
Except to say, I'm the king of the world!
Oh boy, this speech is a doozy. Like, imagine what James Cameron was going through at the Oscars in early 1998. He had the biggest movie in the world. So many people, like myself, adore Titanic. We're going back to the theater over and over again. And then his movie just completely sweeps the Oscars, wins 11 Academy Awards, which still to this day ties the all-time record with Ben-Hur and The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And so picking up his trophies for Best Director and Best Picture, he was feeling pretty good about himself. Most of his speech is okay, but ending with him shouting, I'm the king of the world, is so top-shelf cringe. So cringy, he knew basically as soon as he walked off the stage, he had made a mistake. And in the years since, in interviews, Cameron has regretted shouting that line from his own movie. But he didn't really make things better when he accepted Best Picture, having a moment of silence to remember all those people who died in the Titanic tragedy, only to then say seconds later,
All right, you've really made this a night to remember in every way. Now let's go party till dawn.
Just frickin' yikes. Now before I get to my number 1 choice, a few runners up.
If there's one thing that actors know, other than that there weren't any WMDs.
Sean Penn's little joke when accepting his Best Actor Oscar for Mystic River didn't go over very well.
Like, for instance, you go out there and you do these.
Jack Palance doing push-ups when he accepted his Best Supporting Actor Oscar for City Slickers is pretty awkward.
And I like work. Thank you for knowing that. And thanks for this.
Frances McDormand, I always felt looked really bored when she accepted her third Best Actress Oscar trophy for Nomadland, looking like she doesn't even want to be there.
Tom Cruise for showing me that very early on, kindness and success are not mutually exclusive.
I don't really like either of Renee Zellweger's Oscar acceptance speeches. They both have no structure, they go on and on and on, just naming 1,000 people. But I'm surprised that especially that Cold Mountain speech didn't put the entire audience to sleep.
This was an ensemble film, and it took an ensemble team to make it. I want to thank at Disney Michael Eisner and Joe Roth, who've given me great latitude and great support.
And really, Harvey Weinstein should never have come anywhere close to delivering an Oscar acceptance speech. Come on. But now let's get to my number one choice, the worst Oscar acceptance speech ever. It's a recent one. This was a very easy call to make. My number one choice is Best Actor Will Smith, King Richard.
I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees.
Holy shit. How I loathe this Oscar speech with a capital L happening just minutes after he assaulted Chris Rock on the Oscar stage and then screams obscenities from his seat. He wins Best Actor for his performance in King Richard. He gives a long, weepy, self-indulgent acceptance speech that never once feels like an Oscar moment. It feels like he's having a moment with his therapist or something. It feels like everyone in the room is uncomfortable, like we all love Will Smith, but what he did to Chris Rock was inexcusable. And I don't know about you, but it didn't feel right to me that he was allowed to give a speech at all after what happened. And so for him to go on and on and on for more than 6 minutes, how many deserving Oscar winners throughout the decades have only gotten 1 minute, maybe 90 seconds to give their speech, and then they're out? The music swells, they have to leave, but Will Smith got to keep talking as long as he wanted, and he's crying, comparing himself to the character he played in the movie, and it's just total cringe to the nth degree. He doesn't apologize to Chris Rock at any point in those 6+ minutes. He makes an awkward joke to the Academy at the end. This speech goes on way too long, and it should not have happened in the first place. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think are the worst Oscar acceptance speeches of all time? Is there anything I left off the list? We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.